It's refreshment time, folks.
I'm just gonna go watch a movie.
Do you like scary movies?
I don't watch movies.
I have to return some videotapes.
You have a TV?
No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. Don't need a TV.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me Shell. It's the fucking truth.
Over 1,600 titles, each for rent at just $2 the first night, and only
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but you are aware that there's an invention called television, and on this invention they show shows, right?
It's a laser disc.
Okay, I want channels 18, 24, 63, 109, 87, and the Weather Channel.
Welcome to the Frog Brothers Podcast with your hosts, Justin and Alec.
Hello. Welcome to episode 58 of the Frog Brothers Podcast.
Oh my god.
Why'd you mute me?
Because you're fucking eating food?
I didn't eat during
randomly talking into the microphone?
I said movie.
Yeah, I had to stop you.
I thought I could talk.
Somebody stop me.
I thought it doesn't pick up during the intro.
Have you noticed our new digs here?
This is Alec's new place. It's pretty nice.
Recording our podcast on the,
pretty nice.
old iMac here.
Mm-hmm. On dial-up.
Yep. We here at Frog Bros Video want to bring you the best movie reviews and movie rentals.
Only
and I also have a personal stash of tapes that I have made with individuals, fans. Fans really like it when I bang their mothers and videotape it. So that's what we have for you guys out there. If you like that kind of thing, hit me up. I will do it for you personally. Frog Bros Video.
Oh, custom videos. That's actually on your OnlyFans.
Pretty much, but it's filmed in the same room, so.
Yeah, I thought it smelled funny in here.
Mm-hmm. Got like a funky thing going on.
So, Alec got the video store up and going. Nick's over here still eating. I don't know why he thinks it's necessary to eat while he's podcasting.
Ever since I introduced him to mukbang, he's way more in it than I could ever have hoped to be, so.
Yep.
It's my prodigy.
Oh, good.
Those actually sound kind of good. I think I'm going to pick some up next time I'm there. I've had them before, but like watching you eat them now, I'm kind of like,
I haven't. That's my first time trying these Caesar dressing ones.
Oh, I don't want that.
Caesar. It's very light taste, though.
Yes.
But the regular ones are good.
Covered with cheese and milk product.
I was about to say Caesar dressing is not only that, but it's also fish.
Traditionally
so I don't
sardines,
know.
Yes.
I don't think this has sardines, though. It's just,
you don't think?
It's probably an artificial.
But ranch-flavored Doritos have milk in them. So it could.
No sardines. I don't think the Walmart brand Caesar dressing has sardines either.
I wonder how many viewers we've lost so far.
Yeah,
we're like, what fucking podcast is this?
Fascinating.
Why are they talking about Nick's snacks? Because you should have seen Nick sticking them in his butthole earlier.
Basically.
It's like, you ever seen a Cheeto be made? And I'm like, that's not a Cheeto.
What do we have in news this week?
Well, Hasbro announced a shitload of new toys today.
Ghostbusters?
No.
I didn't hear about any Ghostbusters, so that's probably why I didn't hear about
I'll
much.
tune out then.
I know there was a bunch of Marvel stuff, but
it's the Marvel stuff. They've got the spoiler alert here. They've got the Captain America Falcon version.
They've got the Falcon, the
I haven't
U.S.
watched it
Agent,
yet.
Winter Soldier.
Yep.
That was spoiled like 2 months ago.
Yeah, but it wasn't. I mean, depends. I never saw those earlier, so I wasn't spoiled enough.
I did,
I like when I saw it.
But I was still just as... I still liked the series just as much, so...
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I didn't see that, but the figures look good. So they have the WandaVision figures on there. They have the white Vision that's on there. So
yeah, that was kind of weird. But whatever. I guess it's if you already have the other Vision from the other movies, it's kind of cool to just do an alternate instead of just doing the regular one. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
but they did do that Tony Stark AI, which leads me to believe that's going to be in something. Is that how you're reading into that?
Well,
or is that just straight out of the comics? You know, because they do a bunch of figures and lines. Part
of that is bullshit on Hasbro's part, in my opinion, because they have a bunch of figures that are coming out with the Build-A-Figure
for Shang-Chi or whatever.
Yes.
What's that? I'm probably butchered what that's called.
Yeah. So 4 of those figures I think there's 5 or 6 for that Build-A-Figure.
Yes, and that's
4
one
of
of
those
them.
figures are MCU. The other one's the Tony Stark AI. The other one's something else that have different packaging but have the same Build-A-Figure. So it's just kind of asinine.
Yeah,
You couldn't do
it's
a whole
misleading.
series. Yeah.
It's kind of weird. That's what my first thought was like, wait, is that saying that there's going to be some shit
That's
like
why
that?
if you go to any like reputable toy store anymore, they usually have a whole selection of Build-A-Figure parts and pieces or figures that are like separated from that because like
Any reputable toy store will have a collection of Build-A-Figure pieces that you could buy and put together.
Is that because you're seeing all these Gremlins figures on the other shelf that you're trying to talk like the smart Gremlin at the end of Gremlins 2? Because that's who I thought you were impersonating.
There are 10 gremlins over there, including the spider gremlin. I have to get some display cabinets. Yeah. This closet is full to the top of toys as well.
We
and
checked.
So is my bedroom closet. It's literally just full of toys right now. So there's also 4 boxes of DVDs and Blu-rays out there that...
What are you going to do?
I need another shelf like this, and I can fit almost all of them, I think. I have to do 2 rows there of 2 DVDs stacked on DVDs, but it works.
Shelves along the upper walls.
Pretty nice. So what else is in the news? So
Mortal Kombat obviously came out.
Yep.
That's been a hotly debated topic. There's so much hate and also a lot of love for it, and I think we are all somewhere teetering in the middle.
Yeah,
I have both mixed feelings and love and hate for it, and it's different parts. Well, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we'll break into that.
I give it an Oscar and a Razzie.
We do have show and tell, at least one thing that I bought this week that we've been looking for. Have you managed to pick this up yet?
I haven't even gone to the store to look for it yet.
I don't even... What's that back there? Is that some extra... Oh, those are the lights that go in here.
Oh,
the doors.
Side door lights.
Either way, if you can see this is the... what do they call it? The Dennis Nedry Getaway Pack.
Ooh.
Comes with the Dilophosaurus, Dennis Nedry, and the Jeep. The top comes off. The doors don't open. He comes with the stick, and I like how it says "stick included."
Yes,
it's fucking hilarious. Do you see that? Like it just seems
such like it's log.
Yeah, it seems really dumb. This little bubble here says "stick included." So,
let me see.
That's pretty sick. That's in the Jurassic World Legacy Collection, which is that's the collection I get because it's cheaper. They put out a lot of shit for it. It's in scale with other stuff. I already have that. I have a lot of dinosaurs in this line, so
I'm doing that and the Amber series collection. So I'm just kind of mixed right about what I want to do now.
Well, yeah, because
the Legacy scale I'm really liking a lot better because there's just so much
more
to it.
You can do with it too, and it doesn't take as much space up. The thing about the Amber collection is they do have cool as fuck figures. Like they have Arnold coming out.
Yeah, but the thing with that, just like the thing with the 6-inch Ghostbusters is, we're never going to get a fucking vehicle in their scale. So
yeah,
that's annoying as piss. In your face. So what else is going on in the world? I got a few things. I didn't bring them over for show and tell, but I threw them in the episode art. I got a Ghostbusters USB cable from ThinkGeek, or whatever I think that's called. Yeah. And then I got my new Ghostbusters pins in finally. They ship from London, England. So those all look pretty good. All the mini puffs.
Wow, it sure was cool of Paramount to fly us out to London, England.
Yes. I'm off to London, England. So those came in. Then I got the tuners for my bass guitar. I reassembled that today.
Do you even... It's just now occurred to me that you quoted Austin Powers there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just... that's a good one.
The Army General.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah,
London, England.
I like how he says it too, because it's such a shitty British accent that it's great.
Yeah, we added Austin Powers to our intro this year.
Movie.
So I'm gonna go watch a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, in Lake Flint, that's my favorite movie. I need to get that. You ever seen In Lake Flint? It's pretty weird.
I have not.
Our man.
I don't think there was much else in the news other than that Shang-Chi trailer coming out.
I still haven't had a chance to watch that yet.
I haven't watched it yet either, but I'm stoked. I'm probably gonna watch it tonight.
I just got back from the first Comic-Con in a year and a half.
Oh yeah, how was that? Tell us.
It was pretty good for a small town Comic-Con. I guess we talked about it a little bit in the last episode.
Did you buy anything?
No.
Well, that's fucking boring. You're a fucking toy collector. You go to a con, you don't buy anything.
A lot of money going to not fun things right now.
Yeah. Nick's car decided to try to commit suicide on him, but
twice.
He revived it, and then some
moron.
Somebody's child decided to hit him. And by child, I mean like 17 or 18-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm.
Probably is not even listed on the insurance, so Nick's going to get fucked on that.
They committed perjury and told him that I hit them. But
that's all right. They probably got their dicks caught in their zippers that night. At least I hope they did.
Karma will come around.
Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell, as Sam Jackson would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Is about all we have in the news and in the opening talk here?
Yeah, let's get moving along.
To
water.
I'm pretty dizzy now.
Yeah, I know.
I'm old as hell.
I was never big into headbanging.
Look at me, though. If I part it down the middle, I'm totally in fucking Foo Fighters, man.
Fucking Dave Grohl over here.
And the
I got a confession to make.
The kids are all, this is the rage now. Like, it's not cool to part your hair on the side anymore, you know?
Yeah.
This is how the kids are all doing it these days again. Like, and they're all acting like they invented it or something. I'm like, bitch, get the fuck out of here with that.
Yeah.
And I'm getting old because I'm thinking like that and shit, but...
They were doing that before you were born.
Exactly. Before I was born, that was a thing. Guess what? Have you ever heard of the 1970s?
Or the 60s?
Yeah.
When the men started growing their hair out and people got all butthurt about it. They're like, you can't grow your hair out, you goddamn devil worshippers.
Pretty much.
And you're like, bitch, calm your ass down.
So holy shit, the Falcon and Winter
Falcon
Soldier.
and the Winter Soldier, episode 6. One world, one people.
It's fucking epic.
Yeah, I
quite enjoyed.
This series really paid off. I love it.
Paid off.
I think I'm gonna.
Oh yeah.
As soon as I get my own Disney Plus account, I'm going to rewatch this.
Yes.
Can't you share? I mean, never mind.
Uh-oh. Is Walt Disney listing from the grave? Is he going to come back and... Walt Disney's going to appear and destroy us.
Walt Disney's ghost is going to appear in Kansas City since he got to start here.
Severed head.
He's going to drive to Blue Springs and he's going to murder all of us.
Yeah, and he's going to yell at us in German. You know, because he didn't like Jewish people.
You don't have to be German for that.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just making a Nazi joke. Hey, Walt Disney. We love him, but we also have conflicted emotions about his anti-Semitism.
We don't love him. We just have to watch his shit.
So, yeah.
Well, I really like the way they handled old U.S. agent.
Yes. I like that
they didn't
he
just
showed up
fucking kill him or
and tried to earn the shit back, and he clearly, by like shortly after that, him and Bucky were joking about something, you
That's
know?
what I say is that's one criticism. Like, it seemed like it was just all forgotten, and it was like their old chums again.
Well, it's kind of like the
Or
Winter
always were.
Soldier. He knows what it's like to be fucking shit up. I think that's why he connected with him. Like,
yeah,
he's
he
like,
knows. He knows.
He's been used by the military before. He's been used, not necessarily U.S., but I think he relates to John Walker more than anyone else would.
Mm-hmm.
So he definitely, I think he will connect with him, and he'll be the one trying to convince John Walker to not fuck up shit in the future, I think.
Yeah, and obviously U.S. Agent works pretty well for that because he comes back, you know, he's there to do his thing, so he's still in the fight. He didn't give up.
I loved it.
Yeah, and I loved, you know, he does have some redeeming qualities going on, right? You know, because we're designed to hate him at first. That was the whole point of that character. Even when they did it in the comics, you're supposed to fucking hate that character because...
I never hated him.
That's because you're sick.
Well, no, you definitely...
watch the show.
You disliked him for sure.
I watched it. I thought he was interesting. That's what...
But, like, I think the redeeming part to me that made him humanized is, like, after he went and saw Battlestar's family, and then in this last episode when he's talking to his wife and, like, having that connection with her and, like, really figuring that piece out again, like, okay, he does have a wife and stuff outside of that, which, you know, that Captain America, you know, Steve Rogers never had that, you know, we saw in the MCU as we know it, so it's interesting to see that.
Did anyone mention that he took the serum? Like, did
They
anyone
have
say,
not
hey, this
really got
guy's
into
strong?
that, no.
I don't think so in this one.
Didn't seem like anyone acknowledged it at all.
Bucky did.
He did? Okay, I missed it then.
And I think even Sam did. He asked him, what did you do? I
Yeah.
think it was all that was implied there. But then
in the fight,
the woman also came up to him and was like, implied that she knew he took the serum too.
Okay.
And that's Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character. And so she's going to have a role in, obviously,
Black Widow.
Black Widow, yeah.
She was supposed to be introduced in Black Widow, apparently.
So,
and she is a big
I wondered what the
figurehead in the
impact of
comics,
that being
so.
pushed back would have.
a lot of this looks like they're setting up West Coast Avengers. Hey, there it goes.
Oh, where
Get
is
it,
it?
get it, get
Where
it,
is
get
it? Where is it? Holy shit!
I like how it's the first one on there.
Yeah, exactly.
These are the first one he has to push.
Exactly. Probably play that almost as much as the theme.
Probably.
No, so I think that's really great with where they're going with these things and setting stuff up to make it interesting because it still feels fresh, right? We've seen like fucking feels like what 30 movies or something in the MCU, and like it all still feels fresh and fun, which is amazing. That's fucking so well done.
They're like a year or two. They're gonna pass James Bond if they haven't already. What is James Bond at, like 23 or some shit?
I think this one's 25.
Okay, I was about to say, yeah,
official.
Like, it's getting up there, and I think the MCU is at like 22 or 23. With Black Widow, might be 23, but then there's 2 other ones coming out this year, so it's about to pass fucking James Bond, which is that's a fucking feat.
I think
that shit just keeps coming back.
I think Tarzan is the longest running movie franchise, isn't it?
I don't know, but I don't give a fuck about Tarzan.
Yeah, I don't.
It's
give
not
a
iconic
shit.
at all.
Sure it is.
It's overrated as hell.
It's boring and it's slightly racist.
Like, yeah, and it's also really fucked up that this guy who can't talk, this woman falls in love with him and wants to fuck him.
He's muscular. That's all that matters.
I mean, I guess, but can you imagine what Tarzan's dick smells like? Shit.
Gorilla asshole.
That's fucking sick.
Oh, gorilla pussy. Sure. And asshole.
Maybe at best.
Armadillo
pussy. Does it smell like human pussy, though?
Why would you even ask that question?
Because they're so close to us.
Jesus Christ, Walter, there's just some things you don't talk about in public.
I guess you guys aren't ready for that yet.
But your kids will love it.
Exactly.
Fucking A, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, next time out. So
Falcon's new suit just shows it. He slams through the window.
That's awesome. I love how the Wakandans designed that for him, and Bucky pulled that favor off.
Yes.
And I love how the suit incorporates the wings as well. So it's like got everything you want in that character.
It's great. I love it. I'm stoked to see where that Captain America plot goes, like with the 4th movie that they have announced.
Yes.
Done by the people who did this one. Because the people who did the other Captain America movies don't work on Marvel films anymore.
Really?
Yeah. They did the 2nd, 3rd Captain America movies. I think they wrote the first one, maybe. They didn't direct it, but they directed the 2nd one, the 3rd one, right? The Russo brothers, and then they did the Infinity War and Endgame. So they had their hand in some of the best shit in there, and now they're like, all right, peace. And now somebody else has continued it and fucking nailed it, man.
Yeah.
It got the vibe down. Like it this whole series really brought me back to the show or the movie Winter Soldier. And did you know that one guy, the really strong guy, the assassin guy?
Uh-huh. Yeah, he's come back from other stuff.
He was in Winter Soldier, which I hadn't realized.
Yeah, he's another one of those like low-level villains that's reoccurring, which is important, right?
This is, I think, only his 2nd time, but
still.
But he's brought back from Winter Soldier because that's the guy that Captain America fights on that boat at the beginning. That almost beats his ass because he's like big and buff and shit. Do you remember that? I've watched those a bunch. Some of my
it's been
favorites,
a while for that one.
Either way, so that's pretty cool. He's been in a lot of the series, and I never really put that together. So the fact that they have him from Winter Soldier, obviously Sharon, they had Baron Zemo back. They really nailed this series.
Well, and then fucking Sharon too, man. Like her story arc is so crazy because
now she's there back in the U.S. and shit, but also still in control of shit.
Yeah, she's still vengeful, right? And I don't know if we're going to see her be conflicted or if we're just going to see her just really fuck shit up and take advantage. I mean, I can't imagine she'll like raise to a huge level of being a villain. But the fact that she's using people, I think this is going to be one of those where people are really... I think... I'm just going to call this now. I think that when she becomes a main villain again, we're going to see the return of Nick Fury because he's going to be so fucking pissed, he's going to come back and handle that himself. Or he'll be part of that when they resolve her story arc.
They might tie that in at the end of the Secret Wars show because he's going to be in that clearly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think
You know what Marvel these Marvel things are good at doing is making you care about shit that isn't just the core motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
Like just because Captain America's not Steve Rogers anymore, you know. And that other guy is going to potentially be the Falcon in the future as well, who he left his wings with and shit.
Oh yeah.
Who's his friend?
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely signed up to do future stuff, I think. So
he introduced himself as Captain America. He must be a bad guy.
What?
Remember that thing where...
Well, it is true because he kept calling himself, I'm Captain America.
Oh, but Falcon introduced himself as Captain America, so he must be a bad guy.
Oh. And I mean, no, he's just not Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
But either way, this shit was awesome. And then when he gives that speech to those senators and shit,
yeah,
that was like...
It was a good speech.
It was... I could just feel...
But I didn't expect a long speech like that.
No, I could just tell that there's people out there watching getting triggered by it. And I'm
Oh, God.
So disappointed that they can't just
don't call them
learn
terrorists
from it.
and sympathize with these people's plights.
Like, there's such a good, like, learning and, like, message in this kind of shit.
I bet they lost a lot of subscriptions from boycotters.
Right.
I guess one of my other favorite parts about that is that Sharon winds up shooting Carly. And that works so well because Sam doesn't have to kill anybody, right? So he's able to keep his morals in place and stuff.
Yeah.
And it gives you the chance that U.S. Agent doesn't have to kill her as well, so he can kind of start redeeming himself. So it's setting up a lot of things by having Sharon be the scapegoat for the murder there.
In the very beginning when Sharon has that hologram face, has that been used before?
I don't know.
I couldn't remember. But
there's a lot of shit in there, man. You know, and all these things. So
she had like a holographic
it's hard
disguise.
To say.
Remember?
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where
that was in the Total Recall remake.
Yeah.
Instead of that, in the old one where the
exactly. When it folds apart, it's cool as hell. So.
No, I think there's so much going on in there, and that really had some great fight sequence. Like I love how U.S. Agent really wanted to fucking murder Carly, and just fucking did the right thing there. Like, it just goes to show that, yeah, he might be an asshole and does things his own way, but he still has some semblance of trying to be right and kind of be his character. But clearly, he's going to be molded into being
an anti-hero.
Yeah, he's gonna really be molded into being an anti-hero as you need it. But he's an anti-hero that knows that he's got those rage issues. I mean, he's almost like the Punisher in some regards here, where like he's just a fucking asshole that has like a former military training now, and we're gonna see what he does, right? And he would be an interesting pairing with
the Punisher.
Yeah, I'm just stoked to see.
There's gonna be a lot of
goes.
spots where I think we could see him pop up as U.S. Agent in the future.
Yeah, they just did a great job with his character. That was a great introduction for him. This whole series worked well. I keep saying that, but.
What's Elaine's affiliation? Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
I believe she's she has ties and roots back to Nick Fury and
Hydra
and S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that stuff.
She was with Hydra.
I don't know if she was necessarily with Hydra, but she has ties to Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. and Nick Fury. And at one point, I think in the comics, she was fucking Nick Fury. So maybe we'll get to see her bang Sam Jackson.
That'd be hot.
I'd watch it. Just out of curiosity. Not even like necessarily it would turn me on. It might, you know, it's unpredictable. You never know. But
they need
you never know what you like till you see it.
They need like a soft core.
It's like if somebody told you there was a tape of, I don't know, Tom Hanks fucking. Wouldn't you watch it just out of curiosity?
Oh, yeah.
You want to know how Tom Hanks
His wife
fucks.
or
anybody from anything.
Like Meg Ryan?
Or, you know, like Rob Lowe that had that tape come out of him and the 16-year-old girl when he was fucking her in the late 80s or something. Remember that shit?
I was going to say I want to watch it until you said 16-year-old
exactly.
girl.
Yeah.
I was just saying that's fucked up, but...
Well, don't let Nick on your internet because you don't want
I said
knocking on
until
your
he
door.
said 16-year-old. I was like, I want to watch a Rob Lowe sex tape.
And he's already got it loaded on his phone. That's weird.
Rob Lowe.
Someone call the police.
Just hold my hand over the...
Someone come arrest our intern.
So what's next?
He's just our intern, I promise. He's not our producer.
So next we have Loki, and then we have Scarlet. Not Scarlet Witch.
Black Widow.
dumbass. Black Widow.
July 9th, I think, or something like that. And Loki's June.
Yep. Loki's next.
So we got a little bit of a break then.
Mm-hmm.
Bad Batch is coming out though. That's why. So there is stuff happening.
A break with Marvel.
Yeah, there's a lot of other content, especially Star Wars.
So
related,
Bad Batch is May.
I think so.
Yeah, they're gonna kind of alternate
the cartoon,
their main
right?
titles. Yep.
Were we
It's
gonna
like it's
cover
basically
that?
Clone Wars. No, but only because I haven't watched all of Clone Wars, and I feel like it would be a disservice for
I
me to
haven't watched
not
it all either.
to have covered that without watching it all.
Yeah.
But at some point we probably will, at least do like an overview whenever I have eventually watched it all, and you guys have.
Yeah, there's a lot of. That's one series I never was able to sit down and watch. Now I've seen a lot of Star Wars Rebels and stuff, so I've seen most of that series, which takes place after, so it's new characters, but there is some carryover from the other stuff. So
yeah, there's definitely
it's not as. I mean, to see Bad Batch, you're really going to need to know the other stuff, the ins and outs, because it's a lot of characters that are carried over. So
yeah.
So what's next?
Next up, I don't know. What are we doing next? We got
Mortal Kombat,
or we're gonna do that new segment.
Ooh, let's do that new segment.
I don't have theme music for it yet, but let's just pretend.
Just come up with one off the top of your head and sing it live.
No, this Jesus stuff. There you go. Remember this Jesus music? So we're gonna be doing a new segment. What is it called?
Pitch a summer tent pole.
This is actually an idea we've had since the beginning of the podcast. We just never ended up doing it. But we're gonna pitch a movie basically.
A video game.
Today it's gonna be a video game.
Video
movie.
game adaptation.
Yes.
Film adaptation.
Did you get one completed, Nick? No. So it's just going to be us for the most part, I guess, today. But I have detailed notes on this. I can go ahead, or you can go ahead. Depends on who wants to pitch first.
Yeah, we had a quick turnaround on this episode. We just finished one a few days ago.
We just finished episode 57, had to get to this, so that's why we don't even have a second movie this week. But we wanted to get everything going, show off the new toy room, and carry on. So, pitching a summer tent pole. So what's your topic here, Alec?
Well, let me get my notes.
Yeah.
My pitch is a Twisted Metal movie.
Oh, okay. I like that. I think there's a lot of people that would love a Twisted Metal movie.
I mean, you've had a lot of movies with cars and violence and stuff, especially those death race movies. There's different ones. There's different series. There's like the actual Roger Corman ones. There's one from that's like called Death Race 2000. Has Sylvester Stallone in it, some other random people, and they did a sequel called Death Race 2050 like a couple years ago to it.
Okay.
But that's a 70s movie. And then they did some remakes, and the remake had a couple sequels too in like the 2000s that was kind of shitty.
And you said earlier they're making a Twisted Metal TV show?
There's word about it. That's all I found on the internet. But either way.
A little speculation there. But how are you pitching this?
I'm pitching it as directed and written by Robert Rodriguez.
Okay, I could see that. You got a good director there. He's good with the
over-the-top
special
style
effects.
like Machete.
Yeah.
Produced by George Miller, who did the Mad Max movies. I think that would be fucking great to pair those two together for this. Soundtrack is going to be mostly Rob Zombie and White Zombie songs, with the score being done by Rob Zombie doing new shit. So that'd be pretty fucking dope. He was always on the old game soundtracks and shit, so he was even a playable character in one of the games. So he's kind of tied to the franchise there. I think it would be cool to see him in there. And the cast.
Yeah, I was going to say, who did you cast?
The cast. I'm going to go through these pretty quick because there's a lot of characters in there. But there's a character named Axel. All right? This is the character that drives with the wheels on his arms. The giant wheels on the side, you know what I'm talking about? He's stretched out like this and standing up, and he has wheels on the side of his arms. Dwayne Johnson.
The Rock?
Yes.
For the layman.
Basically. Mr. Grimm, which is basically the Grim Reaper in a biker's outfit on a motorcycle.
What else would he wear?
Be played by Tom Hiddleston. Hammerhead, which is a giant monster truck driven by Granny Dread, an old woman. Betty White. I mean, how could you not?
Fuck yeah. She can be foul when she wants to.
You better get filming.
Exactly. This goes into production next week, Betty. You good? Outlaw, which is the police car. Jamie Roberts is the driver. Charlize Theron. Sweet Tooth, which is the clown in the ice cream car. Needles Kane. Crispin Glover. Dark Side, which is Mr. Ash. I don't even have a casting for it because you wouldn't see him. So there'd just be, that.
Is there voice
there might be a voice,
yeah.
but it'd probably be like Frank Welker or something hilarious.
Okay. No, I'm good with that.
Basically doing his Megatron voice. Thumper, Michael B. Jordan. Drives like a fucking old 70s purple pimpmobile, as you would say. Flower Power. It's kind of an old hippie car. Elizabeth Winstead would drive that. Spectre, which is like a blue sports car driven by a ladies' man played by Bruce Campbell. Minion, which is a demon driving a tank, would just be the voice would be Rob Zombie. Trash Man drives a trash compactor. Danny DeVito, obvious choice.
Yes. Yeah. When I die, throw me in the trash.
Calypso, the organizer of the tournament, who kind of looks like the Emperor from Star Wars a little bit.
Ian McDermott?
Kyle MacLachlan.
Oh, okay.
From Twin Peaks. You just fucking shave his head and give him some creepy time. He can do it. Imagine him from, well, you haven't seen Twin Peaks: The Return, but he gets pretty wild sometimes, so won't spoil that for you. I got two more for you.
We'll be there in 6
Brimstone,
months.
which is a preacher in like a religious type car. I don't even know what it is. Pauly Shore.
Nice.
And then Zoe Saldana as Raven, who drives a hearse called Shadow. She is Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes. Or Uhura from the new Star Trek
Yes.
movies. Yes.
So that's my Twisted Metal pitch with that cast, that director, producer, etc., etc.
What's your basic plot premise?
Basically, it's L.A. 10 years in the future from whenever the film was made, because that's kind of how the video game...
2032.
Basically. 2032, L.A. And Calypso organizes a tournament where he will grant a wish, whatever kind of wish you want. There's no limits on that.
Infinite wishes?
There's no limits.
No holes barred.
So a bunch of different people compete for different reasons. They all have their motives. Axel is doing it because he's tied into his machine and he can't get out. Spectre is doing it for clout. The police is doing it because they're... this is also the 10th one of these tournaments. So it's very much like Mortal Kombat with cars.
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal men and women. So yeah, they just battle it out, and you'd have a few character arcs probably with some of the better characters. Crispin Glover is your basic main villain, kind of at the end as Sweet Tooth, and then obviously you have the Dark Side and Minion as the earlier bosses, I would say. And then Calypso has to escape at the end so you can do some sequels.
Nice.
And you do another tournament.
Is this a setup for a trilogy?
Probably.
As
What
all
else would
things
you do?
are.
Yeah.
I think that's about all my details on there. But Rob Zombie, like I said, would do the score, so you'd have a lot of chuggy metal and violence. It would very much feel like Fast and the Furious meets Machete.
All right. That'd be kind
Super
of
violent and fucked up with lots of cool car chases and battles and interesting deaths.
Nice.
But no Vin Diesel.
No Vin Diesel. I mean, Vin Diesel you could easily cast instead of The Rock.
Yeah, they're pretty interchangeable at this point in their acting careers.
What do you think one's better than the other? Who do you think's a better actor?
He won't even fucking say. You can't fucking make a comment like that and not say
Vin
anything.
Diesel might be a better actor.
I was about to say Vin Diesel is at least an actor originally. Like he's more. I think he's been acting longer than Dwayne, but probably not by much.
Especially if you count his wrestling acting.
If you count that, then The Rock would probably extend over that.
I don't know.
I don't know enough
Diesel,
wrestling trivia.
Vin Diesel
I don't
can
either.
play like kind of a normal character. Like The Rock is just always so fucking over the top. I don't know.
No,
And that just and
I
that's,
want to see some more dramatic chops.
He's typecast just for
From
a
The
reason,
Rock,
and he's fine with that. Like he knows his niche. It's just like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's why you
was.
put him in this, because it's explosive and you just need him to be ripped and fucking pissed off and angry.
Yeah.
So that's why it actually would be great casting for
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I wouldn't cast him in anything but something like that, you know. So
Rock's really hot right now, so you better cast him.
well, it is a tentpole movie.
Mm-hmm.
You can make
Yeah.
that money back, baby.
Mm-hmm.
What is your pitch?
So mine's less detailed than yours, but because I didn't really do this earlier like I should have. I didn't do my homework. But
Neither did Nick. God damn, I'm the only
I
one.
was thinking about it though. I'd really like to see an animated Gex movie because, like, the villain like sucks him into the TV world, and I think that'd be fascinating for a movie.
All right. Well, then you have a minimum of casting Gex and
Oh, yeah.
Rez.
Gex would be voiced by Billy West.
Oh, that's so perfect.
I think he's kind of got that same comedy.
I like that
style
you picked an actual voice actor too, not just an actor.
Oh no! If you're gonna do a big movie like that, now the villain could be any number of people, but
Someone like Bill Hader.
yeah, Bill Hader would be great for the villain voice. I think that would work pretty well. But I would love to see it animated and like just the whole fact that they get sucked into these like TV things, and so you could do tropey stuff with it.
Well, yeah, because you could do different animation styles, almost like anytime it's a different, he's sucked into a different TV, it's the animation style of that period or something too.
Yep. Yeah, so I mean, you'd almost be able to get some vibes from WandaVision just because you'd be able to see different styles kind of going on throughout there.
I was about to say Into the Spider-Verse too, just kind of like the crazy animation styles in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff mixed in there. But I just think having a grown-up comedy animated movie, right? Because Gex is very kind of crass. There's a lot of bad jokes in there. It's kind of violent and stuff, so I think that would work really well. You know, they got to animate a Mario movie coming up finally next year, and so I was thinking about that, and I was like, okay, what's something that would be better? Like
Donner, Party 20, Donner.
Crash Bandicoot is like way less interesting to me than Gex because the fact that Gex is like, hey, we're pulling you in there, and then they're mimicking all these styles of movies, like the first level.
Well,
in
Crash
Gex.
Bandicoot doesn't talk, he didn't quip either.
Yeah.
So you immediately have something that's more relatable, because if you did a Crash Bandicoot movie, I wouldn't want him to talk. But if you did a Gex movie, you'd want him to talk and be hilarious and say fucked up shit the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you'd have to do that, right? And you wouldn't ever want to set up a sequel for anything because I'd just be one and done. I'd be great
Movie
with
studio
this.
would be like, perfect, we cast Ryan Reynolds as Gex. All the kids will see it.
I haven't watched the Pikachu movie.
I just don't care enough about Pokemon anymore to watch it. I liked it when I was younger, but I watched part of it at a friend's house, and I was like, oh, you know, some of them look cool, but some of them also don't.
Yeah, I never saw it, so don't have any intentions to. But I just think a Gex movie would be fun because obviously that's a nostalgic property. It did have one or two sequels, but that first one, it's just such a unique concept where you're side-scrolling through different stuff. Like the first one's like zombie movies, so it has very much like a B horror movie, black and white vibe to it, which is cool and fun. So,
all right, let's since Nick doesn't have one, let's come up with one on the spot. I got one for you that we can cast together.
all right, what you got?
Star Wars: Shadows of the Empire.
We never
it's technically a game.
We never figured out who we'd cast as Dash. Well, we said Oliphant.
Well, that's the thing, is Oliphant would be fucking great.
Now he's what's his fuck?
But maybe Tom Hardy, someone like that, you know.
You got to overlook some of the stuff he's done.
He's done some pretty good stuff.
I know.
Him as Mad Max is, and he barely talks. I could see him being in there. Who would you cast as Caesar in makeup and everything?
Fuck, that's a good question. Who would you cast for that role?
A bald man?
It doesn't fucking matter, man. There's gonna be CGI and costume and stuff for that, but you just gotta have someone that can like play that menacing villain.
Well, I was about to say, with the way the Marvel makeup looks these days, and the way that Marvel and Star Wars work so well together, it would probably be makeup, and you could be anybody. But I think somebody not white would be good.
Yeah, I don't feel like I just feel like that'd just be boring.
Well,
not in the way. I mean, Shizor's like playing a completely different race of people we've never seen in anything besides Shadows of the Empire, right?
Like a Jamaican.
And who do you cast as the voice of Lebo, the droid? Obviously,
Yeah.
you bring back Boba Fett, but that's not a casting.
Yeah, and then I mean, you could still have Mark Hamill in there for Skywalker, but I still think you could do a Shadows of the Empire movie and leave a lot of those elements out that you don't need to de-age people and do a bunch of shit for, right? You could tell the story without showing a lot.
Like the video game.
You could
doesn't
mention
really-
Luke still and have him.
Oh yeah.
You could have his voice almost communicate the Dash at some point or something. But
The
that's
video game really doesn't have much of the regular characters, right?
It has Luke in like
Just
a
going from memory.
cutscene.
Yeah, just one cutscene.
On the Mos Eisley, or
Which they
whatever,
could just do CGI or de-age or whatever.
You need someone that's like that's physically fit, but also like really creepy.
Honestly,
Shizor.
I've never seen Anthony Mackie be creepy, but his face is really interesting looking. Put that guy in some green makeup.
He would be.
I don't know. Could work.
He'd be compelling because he has the chops to be charming, and if he's portraying that charmingness a lot, which is typically he does, right, in the story, in the book, and everything. I think he could probably pull something like that off.
His voice sounds good too.
Yeah, he's got an interesting kind of face shape, head shape.
Yeah, I think that's a good option. Yeah, I still don't know who you'd really do as Dash Rendar. That's such a hard.
Yeah, I just feel like you don't
Chuck
want
Norris.
I just feel like, since he's kind of like a Han Solo counterpart, you don't want to get somebody that's like overly ripped and like crazy in that regard. You want to have somebody that's like almost just kind of fucking wild and squirrely that can get shit done. I think that works better.
Yeah.
But I always love having traditional voice actors do like roles for droids and those types of things, I think that would work.
Well, there's also people who like I said, I've brought up Bill Hader before, but just because he's so crazy and good and talented and that stuff, he did a lot of the voices for BB-8 originally. So, and then they just digitally altered him making sounds.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Really?
Yeah.
For Force Awakens, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They may have done so much for that they just reused the sound catalog they made for him already.
I don't know if he was credited in the other ones though. So, but. All right, fuck it. Kevin Smith is Dash Rendar, and Jason Mewes is Lebo. Chris Rock is Shizor.
Very 90s. Very 90s. I like it. Yeah, I just don't know who, because like everyone's going to say like any of one of the 1,000 Chris's in Hollywood, people will be like, oh, you can use this Chris for...
Well, that's the thing is Chris Pratt almost looks like he would be a good one, but only in looks.
Yeah, it's
I wouldn't actually want to see him in that.
Have him dubbed.
Right?
Not even that. Like, he just... His comedic style wouldn't work for that character, because I think that character is even more serious than Han Solo is usually.
You want someone way gruffer than him.
Yeah.
Someone that seems just fucking like a scoundrel. Yeah.
I don't know. We got one here we couldn't cast. That's
Mm-hmm.
fucked up.
Yeah, I'd have to do some internet research on that one. Find out who I'd cast. 90s Bruce Willis with a wig.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Somebody like that, though, that's just like fucking mean. That'd be good. Nick didn't even come up with one. That's a bummer.
Fallout with Rowan Atkinson playing Mr. Bean.
Ooh.
He just comes out of the vault. Shenanigans ensue.
I would see it.
Daddy.
Actually, yeah, that does sound kind of like, that's probably worth watching.
But that is supposedly got a TV show in development,
so
on Amazon.
We'll be doing some more of this segment in the future sometimes, just for fun.
Doing
Maybe
stuff
stuff
from the top
like pitch a movie sequel to an old movie, you know what I mean?
Yeah, pitching the summer tentpole. We'll be pitching something.
Didn't we say something about pitch a video game for a movie or something?
Probably.
Like turn a movie that shouldn't be a video game into a video
Yeah, but
game?
it's probably already been done. They've done things like that so much. I mean, there's Bible video games that have been released, so...
That's a book.
That's the thing.
I want to play.
I do not.
No, I don't want to play that game.
Unless you get to play as the Romans.
That could be...
and you get to crucify Jesus.
That could be
like
very
you have
violent
to,
and graphic. That might be fun.
Yeah. Like if you're the one who gets to whip Christ, I would do it.
The only way I'd play that game, though, is if Mel Gibson voices a Roman and gets to say and yell profanities as you're nailing Jesus to the cross, since Jesus was a Jewish man.
What do they call those
and Mel
button
Gibson's
time events or
anti-Semitic,
whatever? You gotta press A at the right time to whip Jesus.
Oh, exactly. Well, you'd have to. It'd be almost like you have to aim it
really
to get the nail lined up in his hands when you're nailing him to the cross. It'd be a thing. You'd have
you
to
did
like
it wrong. You'd smash your own thumb and
tilt the controller.
With the hair.
It'd be pretty fucking sweet.
I mean, it's a video game. People can do what they want.
Someone in the bathroom?
No, the fans, the air conditioning's on.
Let's see.
Howdy, moving on.
I think we're moving right along. Footloose and
Mortal-
fancy free.
Mortal Kombat or?
Yeah, we're gonna do
Mortal Kombat.
Front Row Video Reviews with the Frog Brothers Podcast.
Oh, who was that?
That was me.
She sounds hot.
Oh, I'm glad you like it, baby.
Mm-hmm.
So, we finally got a new movie to talk about again.
Finally.
And it's, let's say
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Mortal Kombat yet, we know some people are waiting for this.
What are you waiting for? You only got a month.
I'm telling Edgar, because I know he hasn't seen it yet. Edgar, don't listen to this until we see the movie. Probably going to go to the theaters on Wednesday to see it on the big
Skip to
screen.
time code 57 minutes.
No, don't. Fuck you, Nick. Don't even make shit up. I'm going to shit on your face.
Oh,
And I'm
man. It's
going to
getting...
charge people to watch it.
Welcome to the Scat Brothers Podcast. I'm your host,
man.
Mr.
All right, so Mortal Kombat.
So this movie was released in 2021.
On April 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
And 2021.
In the year of our Lord.
Yeah, indeed.
And that's all we have to say about it.
Yeah, so that's our review of Mortal Kombat. No.
Yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
Overall, let's just go initial thoughts first. Like overall, Nick, yes or no? Did you like it? Sum it up.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want sequels, so.
I enjoyed it. There's lots of things I liked about it. The good outweigh the bad, in my opinion.
I'm probably going to bitch about it the most, but I definitely enjoyed it still.
Oh,
I had a great time watching it. I just kept there was things that kept making me go, ah.
I think it was a hype thing though. You just hyped for it so long.
That
you expected.
Well, no.
Maybe better.
I don't feel the hype at all.
The things that bother me are only
Or
like
the-
really specific storyline things and shit that are just because it's changed from the video game. I fear change. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Do you think it feels like a part one of a trilogy too much, or like it's the first act of a?
It feels like
overall,
a first episode of a fucking TV show,
Right.
not a movie. I mean,
and you wanted to see more meat and potatoes. You wanted to see.
Well, let's face it. We all wanted to see an actual fucking tournament.
Right.
We didn't want to see Goro fighting outside of a fucking house.
That's supposed to be
the
second movie.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't.
And there's things about that I guess would throw you off. But at the same time, they had characters from, like the first 4 or 5 games?
Technically speaking, Nitara's in Deadly Alliance, which is like Mortal Kombat 5, technically.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on in there. Now, things I just loved initially. I loved the visuals of it, right?
Well, yeah, let's go scene by scene a little bit. Like the intro.
The intro
Scorpion,
fight, yeah.
And Baihan and Hanzo.
I thought that was maybe the best part of the movie.
For sure. Obviously.
Yes. It was played a little more straight and interesting.
Well, yeah. That was the most dramatic part, clearly. Hanzo, it almost makes you empathize with him a little too much, because Scorpion is a little bit of a middle ground character. I mean, in the first couple games, you seem to think that he's kind of like, I don't know, like a Boba Fett type. He's just kind of there fucking people up because he's getting paid to or whatever or something like that. It's kind of how it seems. But they did go into these details and storyline aspects, but he's kind of only at the beginning and end, you know?
Mm-hmm. Which is interesting.
Going forward, I don't know what they're going to do with him, because he's got his revenge now. What? So now he's just eternal badass because he got his revenge, or what? You know, doesn't his spirit rest now? I don't know. But
yeah, so anyway, so you see this crazy violent battle, and the thing is, I love how you see Scorpion like find a spear just as out of necessity for the number of assassins that are there to kill him. And then you see that that the wife and kid are killed, but the youngest daughter, I guess, is they're able to hide her and keep her alive.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole fight sequence is amazing. It was so fucking well choreographed. It was insane.
Yes, I definitely like how it took place in the past, and then they went forward with Generations. That worked well with what they were trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. The only thing on there that I guess didn't really seem fleshed out 100% was Sub-Zero. So some of Bihan's story just seemed like it was like he survived for this long, but they don't really explain why. But we know where Scorpion went, right? Because we see his body like kind of burn off and go.
Yeah, that's the thing is about the Lin Kuei is this part of the story always makes this Lin Kuei seem like fucking assholes and like scumbags that you just fucking hate. But
really,
and then second Sub-Zero comes around. His younger brother, I can't even remember his name now. He has a name, too. It's not Baihan, obviously. But he comes around, and he's a good guy, obviously, in Mortal Kombat 2.
Well, and what you get with some of that is that it's more like rival gangs, right? It's almost more like West Side Story. And speaking of...
Yeah. I mean, I get that for sure. It just, it just, this version of it, and from this perspective, makes it seem like Scorpion is happy-go-lucky, not doing anything wrong, and Sub-Zero is the fucking devil.
He was planting some tomatoes.
Exactly.
Yeah, he comes there to get revenge on
That's
him.
what I'm saying. They're portraying him that way. And I'm not even necessarily saying that's bad or wrong. I'm just saying I think that's what helps contribute to the negative portrayal of Sub-Zero.
The other piece to that, though, is that like Sub-Zero's there speaking, Chinese to...
I do like how Sub-Zero is the ultimate badass, though. Like how everybody fears him and shit throughout the whole time, and they're like
Chinese. One of them spoke Japanese.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting. But at the same time, if you're truly rivals, like you would be able to understand why you're rivals, right? I think there's a little bit of that was lost in translation for me. Not to say that the fight scenes weren't amazing, because that looked great, and like the fucking brutal carnage there. The other thing I liked is how they had violent fucking wounds to each other during this battle. Like, and you're like, oh, fuck, are they going to die already? And like
that dagger and the Scorpion, and I was like, he's got to be done, but he kept fucking fighting. I'm like, dude.
I don't think it was supposed to be digging into him too much, but it was definitely digging into him.
Upward with it, though. I was like,
well, that's what I mean. It was probably just, well, he couldn't have been, obviously, or the guy would have just fucking died.
It's like,
but
he kept going.
Yeah, the graphicness, the blood, you could definitely see in that first battle with Scorpion kicking all those people's asses that, all right, this is going to be... In terms of the fights in the blood, it's better, obviously, than the other movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, really, we're only talking about it if comparing it to Mortal Kombat 95, not Annihilation at all, because that's just a laughable comedy fest. But
yeah, that's a missed opportunity for sure.
Let me see here. I got some more notes. The big thing that bothers me, like I said, is there's no tournament, because they keep talking about the tournament and implying the tournament's going to happen. And now it's like, all right, well, if the tournament doesn't happen in the next movie, then this is just another one of those things where you're taking so many liberties with it, it's not Mortal Kombat anymore. But, I mean, there's enough lore and arc there that you don't have to focus on it, but guess what? The first movie should have been the fucking tournament. And then after that, you do what the hell you want.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm just bitching. You know, I still liked it. Still had a good time.
If they do
don't get mad at me here.
If they do make a trilogy and you can watch it as a whole, it'll be
well, right, but I feel like the third, what they should have done is this first movie been the first tournament. The second movie, they combined the second and third game. Kind of like they did with Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat Annihilation, but not sucky.
Outworld invading illegally?
Yes.
Yeah, that would have made sense, right?
And then you can go forward with not, like, because we still probably won't see Shao Kahn in the next movie. And if you do,
that seems like a
he
part
probably
3.
won't fight. Exactly.
He might, like, at the tail end. Like
he should have been a part 2. This should have been Shang Tsung's movie.
movie.
Second one should have been Shao Kahn. By the third time, by the time you're at the third one, you can do Shinnok, Quan Chi, hopefully Quan Chi at least, and maybe even, there's lots of things you can do. But I'm just saying,
yeah,
Shang Tsung didn't even really fight anyone. He just did one fatality.
Well, he did one soul suck, and that wasn't even that interesting.
Well, actually, I really liked the way that it looked, but they did kill off Kung Lao a little quick, a little premature.
Well, for as much character development as he got, just like in his camaraderie with Liu Kang, like he felt more fleshed out than Liu Kang felt. Just because Liu Kang shows up and he's already a badass, right? And he's like, hey, come with me.
I didn't like the casting of Liu Kang.
I loved Liu Kang and Kung Lao's casting. I loved their performance. Their development was middle ground. Kung Lao and Liu Kang, the way they act, though, that's spot on. They did great with that.
Yeah.
Kung Lao that's how Kung Lao is. Liu Kang.
I just missed the Beverly Hills Ninja guy.
What do they call it? When you get
I'm not talking about the old movie, but that was...
No, I'm saying maybe that's my problem.
Well, probably.
I missed him.
But this guy was... He was good. But the thing is, Liu Kang is not supposed to be the end-all, be-all person. He's arguably... In the original plot line, he wins the first tournament and shit. Then he goes on to win the second one or whatever.
Doesn't he die in...
Because Kung Lao won. I don't even remember the original plot points because I'm trying to...
or something?
Yeah, he dies.
Yeah.
So that makes sense that he dies. That's fine. But it just kind of sucks because I like Kung Lao a lot, too.
Well, the thing with, I guess, my biggest issue with the movie is that some of these things just felt rushed to get to the point. Like, Kano was very fleshed out, and like you...
That's what I'm saying. Kano had more screen time than fucking anyone. This was the Kano fucking show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's great. Like, he was great in the role, right? He's an asshole. Like, he's like a likable asshole, and then you see him become a traitor. You see these out just for money, right? Because everyone's like, wait, he's a good guy? And it was like much more depth to it than
I think they did great with him. I don't have any problems with it. I just think that he, like I said, he has almost more screen time than anyone else and more like...
Yeah, I was surprised.
Development and just like because he talks so much and you see so much that he does. It's like Kano the movie, but again, still had a good time.
And the backgrounds looked great, right? It felt like every time you had a fight, there's a lot of different backgrounds, so it really felt like you're in the game, like where you've got different things going on, different battlegrounds and stuff. I think that worked pretty well.
I don't, unfortunately.
But
that's probably because I'm sitting here wishing they would do backgrounds from the actual games.
Yeah.
Because that's what I would like to see. So I understand that that's probably why I don't like the backgrounds. But also, I just don't like seeing Goro fight outside of a house. Maybe somebody thought that it sounded like a cool idea. And maybe some people out there really liked it. But to me, I want to see him fighting in a fucking dungeon with skulls and shit or some fucking just brutal looking shit.
The other thing is, like, you're getting to the fact that you've got all these characters in there, right? And so obviously Goro's like your main baddie, and they kind of imply that no one ever gets past him. Yet in this movie, like, it's not even a tournament movie, so I don't even think he should have really been in it. Like, he had no purpose to me, because killing him off immediately was like, well, then you've already killed the main opponent to overcome in your first tournament.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is I don't think they'll go with Kintaro in the next movie.
No, I think, they're going to wind up... I mean, why would you?
I mean,
It seemed like at the end they implied that anyone that died could come back, though.
Yeah, but do you really want to see them come back, too, necessarily?
I'm not saying that.
Does that
but
cheapen
it just
their
seems like
deaths?
that they implied that very strongly, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of fun stuff in it. Like, I had a good time watching it, but when you really break down the plot, you're like, well, it is Mortal Kombat, so... But you can't say, you can't always just say that, because there is a lot of thought put into a video game to make it interesting, right? And there's
Here's a character that was absolutely fucking ruined and disserviced, in my opinion. Rico. General Rico or Ryko.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the worst character in that movie. Just pathetic, boring. Did not give a fuck about that character. That character is introduced in Mortal Kombat 4. I don't know if you remember. He's in a ninja outfit, but it's like magenta, and he has almost like black makeup that looks like wrestler makeup around his eyes, kind of, and then his eyes glow blue. Later on, it's in the games, I think...
They have an alternate look for him.
Well, yeah, his look is upgraded, and it's more similar to what it is in this movie, and they've upgraded it before, but they should have had a middle ground somewhere, because they just ruined him. He was just garbage. He had, he was just there to be an extra fucking thug, and I don't know why they threw that name on him. I hated it. Yeah, see how he looks there? He's trying to imitate Shao Kahn, basically.
Yeah.
So...
And, there's a lot of Easter eggs in the movie.
Yeah, Bo Raichao is mentioned as their master, and he is from Deadly Alliance as well.
Yeah.
Natara's from that game.
Well, you also see that huge statue of Shao Kahn.
Well, yeah.
There's lots of cool things in there. I really liked Raiden in this movie. I just didn't think he had enough time.
Yeah.
He seemed, for being as knowledgeable as he was, he just seemed really kind of standing back from afar. And then, Sonya Blade's character, she didn't get a lot of development.
I think Sonya Blade...
They make her, be this
She's
poor
pretty
person.
decent in there. I mean, I didn't have any necessarily problems with her, other than... I don't know if I really like the whole plot of, first of all, that there are a certain chosen fighters that all have the tattoo, that it transfers when the person's killed.
Kill that.
Yeah, the birthmark, and then what do they call it? The Akana, when you find out your powers, your special powers.
That I also really didn't like, especially when it does some really fucking dumb shit, like Jax's arms, the metal and shit like that. That was the dumbest thing in the movie to me, when Jax's arms just rah, that's my power. I can make my arms different technology than they are. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, that's too artificial.
That was just weird to me. It just out of place, and there was so many better ways they could have done that specifically. Sounds like I'm bitching a lot, but also Cole Young should have just been fucking Takeda. I'm sorry. Scorpion has a son in the games now, and people like that character, so why the fuck introduce Cole Young, who nobody gives a shit about? Well, that way you can have a new person who has to look at this stuff from the outside. Well, guess what? I don't give a fuck about that.
You just tell the narrative from however everyone knows the story of the games for the most part.
And don't get me wrong. When I watched this movie, I didn't hate Cole Young at all. I went into the movie not wanting to like him, really. But I was okay with his character and everything. I just think if you had literally just named him Takeda, it'd have been cooler.
Yeah, I guess my big piece on that was I enjoyed his performance, right? He's easy to follow along with.
And what is his power? He grows like an Aquaman shirt?
Yeah, an
That's what
Aquaman
it looks like.
shirt with those blades.
Looks like
I was
Aquaman.
thinking when I was watching the end
And
of
those
it.
knives, yeah. See, what I thought was going to happen,
that was dumb.
Just as you're watching, I'm like, oh, okay, since he's related to Scorpion, at some point in time, he's going to, inherit Scorpion's powers, and he'd be like a new Scorpion. I thought that would have been a neat idea, right?
Cabal, fucking, that was sick. Cabal was awesome in this.
Mm-hmm. His fight sequences where he's basically, you know what I mean? His fight style is basically a ripoff of Nightcrawler from the X-Men, so
yeah,
just fucking flashing through and beating people's ass. It's great.
Yeah. I liked a lot of their power portrayals, the moves, the fatalities and shit like that. That's the only thing, this falls victim to a lot of shit that people hate about Annihilation. In Annihilation, Shiva, four-armed bitch, doesn't even have a fight. She's smashed by a fucking gate.
Yeah.
Okay,
I watched that at the theater. I've never watched it.
Natara is instantly killed by a fatality without having a fight.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, why the fuck did you even put that character in there? You just putting her and Rico in there because they're not people's favorites, so you have people to kill? Is that what you're doing? I mean, I guess it's better than nothing, but fuck.
Yeah, and it seems like there's a fair amount of that going on.
Reptile, was that Reptile or not?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
People don't think it is. on the internet. They're arguing whether it was even reptile. And also, if it was, it's a shitty fucking reptile. It looked like the goddamn lizard from the Spider-Man movie that sucked ass. I'm sorry, I'm just tearing this movie apart right now, but I need to watch it again, too. I'm literally, it's easier to complain about it than it is to
watch it again because I watched it in so many chunks.
Talk about the things I liked about it.
Because, like I said, say what you will about video games, but they have very fleshed out stories intentionally, right?
Especially Mortal Kombat, man.
Well,
nowadays,
for so long with it, yeah. No, but I had fun with it. Like I said, there's some things I wish would have changed. Like, like Shang Tsung was just kind of wasted. He was just kind of there as like an omnipresent badass, and he just didn't do a lot.
He did a good job as Shang Tsung, though. I liked his portrayal of him, and hopefully, I don't know. He's gonna come back, obviously. I just don't know in what capacity, what he's gonna even do in there.
Well, it feels like the way they've done this, like they're skipping the first tournament that we're all familiar with from Mortal Kombat. And it just seems like we're going to go straight into more of a Mortal Kombat 2-3 hybrid for the tournament movie.
Well,
but I don't know. I've also seen speculation that people are saying, okay, the movie 1 is pre-tournament bullshit just to kind of bring you up to speed. Movie 2 is the actual tournament, and movie 3 is post-world or outworld invasion after they lose.
I could be okay with that.
But you gotta have a reason for it, though. And then the other thing is, like...
The only problem I have with that is things like Cabal being killed, because I would like Cabal to be in the Earth Invasion movie. But that's literally just me, like, being uncomfortable with change.
Yeah.
But you have to accept some of it. Exactly. When you...
I mean, Mortal Kombat, the games retcon themselves as they need to, which I get. Like, it's no big deal, whatever. Like, they've got fucking... Chronica in the last game really just being able to fucking change time.
Exactly.
So you get some of that, right? So I get that things can change like that. And if you're going to do that in a movie, it's pretty ambitious, so you'd have to have it really well laid out.
And
then the tease for Johnny Cage at the end. You know who Cole really felt like to me the whole fucking movie, besides the fact that we knew he was related to Scorpion, was Johnny Cage, because he's a fucking cage fighter, right?
No, I didn't feel like that to me.
His fighting style, like this, is an MMA fighter.
I
like they would have gone that route with him. But then they just have that poster at the end, like, you're all going to go find more fighters. You're like, what?
He's supposed to be a Hollywood guy, not a fucking MMA guy. So, yeah, he definitely didn't remind me of Johnny Cage.
Well, I guess the thing, it's silly, though, is like, okay, so Sub-Zero supposedly has killed all these people, all these combatants, right? They're cheating the system, right? And
why didn't we see any of those deaths?
Well, exactly. And then why didn't you kill off the other characters that they went to recruit? All these people had the marking and no one ever went looking for them, and they knew this tournament was coming up. It just seems like they were so excited to do something that they didn't really flesh it out all the way.
Well, you can tell the guy who did this, or who wrote it, and maybe directed. I don't know who did either.
It's different. So the director knew his shit. Like, he had a lot of stuff in there, like he included, and some of that background stuff isn't always going to be in the script, right? There's certain things in there, Easter eggs and stuff like that, but.
I mean, I keep saying, you could have done this, you should have done this, you would have, but... And
I love Scorpion and Sub-Zero, but to me I felt like Sub-Zero was way overpowered for this movie. Like, he was more powerful than Goro. Like, that's fucking absurd.
I don't think it's absurd, because all Goro can do is whoop people's asses. He doesn't have a lot of powers other than that. But Sub-Zero is fucking Sub-Zero. I'm glad that he was top tier in this, because... he deserves that fucking respect like Scorpion does, like Shang Tsung does.
One of the writers of this is a writer for the new Resident Evil movie.
I mean, that's why the Resident Evil movies sucked, is because they focused on a character that's not even in the fucking games.
Yes, that's the problem. Like, you lose that. Everyone's like, well, they need the everyman to follow.
You don't need any fucking everyman. Fuck you and your fucking everyman.
Well, they already did that, so maybe they won't do that this time.
No, I don't think they're going to. They won't fucking.
There's a trailer out for another, the CGI Resident Evil that's come out on Netflix. Pretty sure it's a sequel to the other ones, though, that have Leon in them.
Yeah, I watched one of the old CGI ones before.
Degeneration or something like that?
Yeah, Regeneration. It was all right.
So an interesting piece I found when I was reading an article about Mortal Kombat was that the director said, like, there's no sequel talks allowed on the set. They don't want anyone talking about sequels. That too. And I think that's interesting because that movie's clearly just setting up sequels. That's all that movie does. Unfortunately, because, I even read in that same article, I think it mentioned about, like, the possibility of doing one-off movies for each character.
I was about to say, you know what?
Yeah, they said they might do a Johnny Cage solo movie.
Maybe this should have just been
I think it would have been a great
series,
web series, or a Netflix style series, right?
Well, yeah. I wouldn't call it a web series anymore. I just call it a series because they already did a Mortal Kombat web series.
Yeah, those are like shorter episodes.
Yeah, they're shorter, and some people like those even better. I have the first season of that, I think, on DVD.
I think you just get better character development there, right? So if you want to show off some of that stuff, you could do it without it being as rushed.
Yeah, because there's a lot of characters in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, if you did this as a like 8-part series, this would have been a good first season. If you're going to do plenty more shit.
And they could still go that way to carry this on. I think Marvel's kind of showing you that you don't always have to do movie format. You can split things up, right?
I think Nathan said something to me that when our messages, when we were talking, that really hit one of the things that's like, you're watching this whole movie and at a certain point you realize, oh, that tournament's not happening.
Oh, yeah.
Like maybe...
midway through, you're like, okay, we're never going to get to that. Basically, is kind of what
yeah,
I
you have this realization of, okay, that's not going to be
that
in
was
this
spoiled
movie.
for me. I saw there was no tournament before I even watched it. So.
And now what I would say is like...
I don't even know if I would have watched it then. I'd have been too pissed.
I was like...
I think the way to fix this series going forward is to do a series introducing these characters. Like, I don't want a Johnny Cage movie, but if you give me a 45-minute episode about his arc kind of weaving into something...
Isn't HBO Max looking for some content?
Yeah.
So, yeah, they should probably.
I mean, I think that would be more compelling. Give them a 45... I don't need an hour and a half or an hour and 20. I need 45 minutes to figure out why I care about this character and then put them in some situations later on as they do an ensemble piece.
Yeah. And
you could do that. You could do an entire season of each character kind of interweaving through to set up a movie even if you wanted to. It just felt like this entire thing was just like staging you for other stuff to come. It didn't feel like it really had a...
Well, it's like, how can you stage things to come when you kill off Goro?
Yeah, well, you're just looking at bigger, better villains, basically, at that point. And
there's not a bunch of bigger and better villains. They each... Obviously, the Mortal Kombat villains had a bunch of bosses they kept introducing like that. Kintaro, Motaro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I really liked Motaro as a villain just because it's so weird and interesting, but they're probably not going to do that. They're probably just going to bring Goro back because he's more iconic, yeah.
Yeah, so,
I mean... uppercut him every time he jumps over you.
I do need to watch it again and just kind of get a second opinion. So I do want to see this on the big screen.
I was just about to ask you guys want to go to the theater? That's
I think we're
probably the easiest way to grade this.
I think we're going to try and go on Wednesday. So
I'll let you know for sure. What was your favorite and least favorite characters in this film?
My least was Sonya. I didn't like the actress's portrayal, I guess.
I thought she was fine.
My opinion on Sonya, though, is it felt like she...
Do you think it's the actress portrayal or just the way she's written and everything?
I think it's the way she's written. The actress was fine.
Yeah, because I'd have to know more about the actress's work.
She felt like a cheap rip-off of Sarah Connor to me. Just in, like, her style, like her... She's not, like, wealthy, and, like, they try to play it down, like, where she's normally really got a little bit of military history.
I live in this shithole.
Yeah, and then she's like, you think I could afford $3 million?
Yeah, it could be writing and direction. So I'm not going to blame the actress.
Yeah, no, I didn't like Sonya either very much, but I didn't hate her. I think it was just the writing that I didn't like about the Special Forces being all into the Mortal Kombat tournament and knowing about it and shit. I didn't like that.
See, like, I think you could edit this down and make... I think you could edit it down to make it a 45-minute episode about Kano for a series. Because he stole the show for me, right? The actor was great. You get to see him flip sides. And
I was about to say, they almost might be...
He was the most
on this,
charismatic, I think.
Yeah.
It almost might be my least favorite only because it was just so much of it.
Yeah, he was like...
And it was just shoved down my fucking
the comic
throat.
relief.
Yeah, and it's like...
But yeah,
that's what Johnny Cage is for.
I think he might have been the most likable.
As far as, maybe it's just the lines and the screen time, you know, but it just felt like that was the most fleshed out character in this whole thing. That's the person that had the most development, like saying, okay, I'm a gun for hire. I change who I am, you know, and I go for that, even though he's still got enemies, but he's like, yeah, after he finds his Akana or whatever, you know, like they're pissing him off on purpose to encourage him. So he's the one that has the most character development that we see in this, like almost even more so than Cole, because Cole's basically his only reason to survive is to take care of his family, protect his family.
Yeah,
and he
I'll
even
say
makes the comment like, I'm willing to die for my family. And you're like, so what's...
My favorite's probably Hanzo. He stole that shit. He wasn't in it, but the beginning and the end was the only problem.
Scorpion, right?
Yeah, and Sub-Zero...
Yeah, I liked him too. He just wasn't in a lot of it.
Was just quiet, but I love that he was in a lot of it, because obviously Sub-Zero is my favorite Mortal Kombat character.
I think he's a lot of people's, probably.
Yeah, it's a lot of the time either Scorpion or Sub-Zero.
Yeah, I mean...
If you grew up liking wrestling, it's probably Scorpion. That's just the kind of the way it works. I don't know why. But if you listen to Metallica, it's probably Scorpion, something like that. But in this movie, I thought he was excellent.
Well, they give you a purpose behind the character that really works.
Least favorite is Rico, just because they fucked him up. He's just big and dumb. I know it's just annoying to look at.
Yeah, the other big missed opportunity for me, though, is like when you're just thinking from a story perspective, right? You have this interesting concept that they've been chasing people for 8 years. So immediately after seeing the trailer and seeing some of those things that we saw in the movie, I've just figured like, oh, so Jax has his arms frozen off 8 years ago. He's got his new metal arms, and they're trying to figure this shit out in the future. And then they go this other route, and you're like,
yeah,
that's not compelling. Like, those first arms look like shit. They're not even, like, interesting to look at. They look terrible.
Well, yeah, that's whoever cut the trailer for them fucked that up.
Yeah.
Okay, because they had us thinking that, like you just said, that Jax, when he said, we met a super soldier in the past, was Sub-Zero.
And that would have made more sense to me, right? Because, like, him coming in, like, it was very Terminator style, like where he shows up just in time to save.
Yeah.
There's certain weird vibes in there that it just felt like they're lifting.
And Cole and his family had to accept it way too quick
Yeah.
and be way into it and invested into it immediately. It was very weird.
And they're almost wondering, like, at certain times, I was like, are they going to kill Cole off and then his daughter's going to be, like, trying to get vengeance for him later on again? Like, where are they going with that, right? Because they kept wanting to show her off, like, I mean, she had even more screen time than his wife, like, so it was kind of all over the place. It's fun, it's Mortal Kombat, so I try not to take it too serious, but as someone that's a fan of the franchise, like, and the stuff even if you just know the original trilogy of the games, you know enough about Mortal Kombat to be like, okay, what's going to make a good movie, what's not?
What do you hope to see what characters do you hope to see in the future in this?
I would love them to bring in some of the other ninjas. Sector or Cyrax, I think, could be interesting.
I was about to say, Cyrax will probably... I hope Cyrax will be brought in, at least in the second movie, as human form.
Yeah.
And then maybe get transformed by the third one. I'd like to see that, because he's friends with Sub-Zero and Smoke.
Yeah.
You could see Smoke and Cyrax become cyborgs, and then Smoke is like programmed to be evil.
I would love to see more Scorpion screen time in the next movie, because basically, I mean, after Cole's blood gets on that blade, his descendant's blood basically frees him from hell, which is why he shows up to help, and then they kind of team up and do their thing, and then he's free to do what he wants, but obviously he's learned how to do whatever, so I think he could have an interesting story arc.
I would like to see Quan Chi.
There's just a lot of
Kenshi,
of opportunity there.
the blind swordsman. He's in Deadly Alliance, and I've seen something else as well. Obviously, Noob Saibot's probably going to be in there, and the new Sub-Zero.
Yeah,
because that'll be an element of interaction with Scorpion and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll probably be a big plot point. Noob Saibot will be a big deal in the next movie instead of, something that should just be a little bit smaller of a thing. But I do like the plot and concept of it, so that's interesting. I'd like to see...
I don't know, like, I'm torn on Shang Tsung, because, like, he's a very compelling character, right? In the first game, he's a great villain, right?
Yeah.
Shape-shifting, like, that was the biggest disappointment, is they didn't do any shape-shifting in this. Like, I think that's what works so well, like, about his character. Like, yeah, he eats souls, but he could have been tricking anyone at any point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they'll do that in the second movie, but...
Because he really did that in the first movie, yeah.
I don't feel like we got any resolution out of him, so I don't think Shao Kahn should be in the next movie.
If Shao Kahn's in the next movie, it only has to be watching the tournament, like, sitting there in the background, like, that person.
And you can introduce that actor and all that, and then you can kind of do a thing where you figure out that they're going to invade after the tournament. Something like that, but I don't need him to be the main villain or anything like that.
Yeah.
I still think Shang Tsung needs to, like, tell his story there. And then were there any other characters from the first game that weren't in this? The original game only had the 8 combatants, right?
Johnny Cage is the missing.
Was the main piece missing?
Yeah. I think
Reptile,
so.
if that's not Reptile. He was like a hidden character, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was only a playable villain.
And he had the shared powers of Scorpion and Sub-Zero in that one. He could freeze people and hook people.
Yeah, just since they had to use what they already had available in there and just did a color palette swap, they just combined them.
But yeah, I'd like to see Rain. I'd like to see Edenia brought up in general. Katana wasn't in here. She's in Mortal Kombat 2, but
and that was Melina that was in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
because Melina is based off of Katana. So it's a little weird that she's in there and she's not.
Just as a villain. And then already killed her off. Like, some of the choices for villains they killed off was interesting to me.
Nutara and Rico, they clearly just did so they could fucking get rid of some people
I get you're going to
quickly.
need disposable people there, but you also have henchmen and stuff there as well. So.
There's more disposable people than those people as well. I don't know. Like Movado.
Yeah. I mean, I had fun. I'd watch it again. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the other stuff, right? I didn't hate it so much that I'd be like, oh, I don't want to see anything more. It's, if anything, I was disappointed for a lot of it as far as character development goes. Visually, I enjoyed the entire movie. I love the way all of Sub-Zero's special effects looked. I love the way some of his battlegrounds looked when he would freeze rooms over and stuff like that. I thought that was amazing.
Shot a bunch of blood out of somebody and then froze it and used
stabbed
it as
him
a
with his
Scorpion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things there that really, really worked. The fatalities looked great that they had included in there.
Mhm.
And I guess for me, it's just the actual story itself was like...
Kano actually ripped someone's heart out and shit.
Yeah, that was Reptile's heart he ripped out.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. So
Doesn't Reptile spit acid like in the game?
Yeah, that's why
I was
when
expecting the heart to like melt his arm a little bit or something.
Right.
Like the acid would come off, like acid blood. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, you did see the acid like melting the.
But I mean, when he was holding the
beam,
heart, I was expecting like.
Well, I mean, that may not be acid blood. That would just be if
Yeah,
you spit
but that's
acid.
just what I was expecting.
Yeah,
kind of like the alien, the xenomorph have acidic blood.
Yeah, they don't melt themselves though. So.
Right.
The only thing that sucks is just like, this is what you let off with, and now we just have to wait infinity amount of time again for them to do something
there may
else.
not be anything else. They're still waiting on a box office return from this. So
yeah, I mean,
the box office pretty quickly hit their budget. Just the box office, I think. So then you got to count what memberships they got from streaming.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just,
and they're gonna be like, yeah, we understand that the pandemic's going on, so it might get greenlit pretty quick.
I guess the other thing that I did appreciate about the movie is it didn't cast a shitload of people we already fucking knew.
well, yeah, they did that. They didn't whitewash it. You know what I'm saying?
And it was shot in Australia, so it didn't seem like so completely familiar like some of that stuff could be. You know, had they just used a bunch of big name people we already knew, it would have been kind of like, okay. Like, fan casting works really well sometimes. Sometimes it's really detrimental to the actual performance or outcome of a movie.
Yeah, they're already talking about some MMA guy being Johnny Cage, and I'm like, oh, fucking A.
Or the Miz, the wrestler.
No, you should not put a wrestler or an MMA guy in that role. I'm sorry, I don't need it.
No, you need to figure out like what's a modern equivalent to Jean-Claude Van Damme, because that's essentially what they just made a fucking Americanized version of Jean-Claude Van Damme, and that's what they rolled with.
Yeah. They need somebody more charismatic than fighting. You can fake the fighting.
It definitely needs to be charismatic.
You can fake the fighting.
The fighting can
they
be a
need to be the
stuntman
most charismatic, hilarious, cheesy, annoying motherfucker on the planet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To be Johnny Cage. That's what you need.
Those were $500 sunglasses, asshole.
That's the thing about that other movie. I mean, it's nostalgic as fuck for all of us, clearly.
But there's a lot of shit that movie actually got right.
But
on.
it's
really
it's
appreciate
still a
even more
good watch.
Yeah, the first one. Like
It's problematic for sure. Don't get me started on fucking Sonya Blade being just fucking shit on in that movie. Like the second half of the movie, all of a sudden she's just a wasted character, and you're like, what? I mean, there's things
I'm
in
sure
there.
that's why what's her name didn't come back.
Yeah,
because,
they
well, fuck
recast
you.
her in the second one.
Yeah, she knew better than to come back for that because the way the second part of her character went.
Yeah, so, I don't know. We'll see.
Or because the script.
Let us know what you thought of Mortal Kombat. Just jump on the socials and let us know. Tell us what you liked, what you hated, what you want to see more of.
I bitched a lot. I need to watch it again. I'm like, just thinking about it, I'm like, man, I really didn't like it as much as I thought I did.
I had fun watching it, but it was like, just looking back, there's a lot more stuff I was way more critical of than when I was initially done watching the movie.
Well, there's just some stuff, it's like, why the fuck did you do it this way?
Yeah.
Why? Just to be artistic and different? Just to not do the thing that everybody wants you to do? Just to be like, you don't have to have it that way. Look, we can do it this way. I just don't get it. I don't know. Makes me go.
There's times for these crossovers where you wish you'd get a writer that understood the property or the franchise, right?
I mean, it's not the worst. Some of it is done so well that it's crazy, like the Scorpion and Sub-Zero shit, you know?
Yeah, but, and
then
if you do a rewrite, keep the shit that's really on point and then fucking fix the other stuff. Like, I think this movie would have had the potential to go from, like, okay to great had they had a couple other rewrites in there to kind of fine-tune some shit. It just felt like there's things... It felt like parts of the script were perfect and ready to go, and some of it was just like, okay, we're just going to get through this.
Why don't we just add the fucking tournament back into the script? That'd be great.
Trilogy-itis.
Yeah. Fuck, I don't even need the background to any of these characters. Like, you can just fucking put them at the tournament and fucking tell me anything relevant I need to know through a flashback for all I fucking care.
I don't know. Just mixed on it. I feel... I would probably defend it if somebody attacked it just because I'd feel like it's mine. You can't attack this. Only I can talk shit on it. But
yeah, it's like your love child.
Some weird thing of...
Well, if they attack it expecting some kind of Oscar movie, like people just saying, this is dumb.
Well, I mean, historically speaking, when you look at video game movie adaptions, right, name one that comes to mind that was great.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? You know what you're getting into.
One, isn't there?
Mortal Kombat from 1995.
Well, yeah.
Arguably, that's one of the better adaptions that kind of follows the story, because everyone else just wants to get off into other shit where you have some writer that doesn't understand the property. Like, I feel like the people that came up with the concept for the game would be better at writing a fucking movie because they figured that out. They
have
figured
the
out
fucking those people
resolution.
write the movie. Yep. Well, I guess we'll move along to the last segment so I can stop. I'm just getting stressed about Mortal Kombat. Just slightly disappointed. I'm going to go cry tonight about it. Slightly disappointed.
We now return to the real Ghostbusters.
Diane, 11:30 a.m., February 24th. Entering the town of Twin Peaks.
In my penis. In your penis.
Bill Murray's the funniest man on the planet.
Episode by episode.
Episode 8 of Twin Peaks.
Titled The Last Evening. The season finale.
It was a good season finale, too.
That was a hell of a cliffhanger. How long did people have to wait back in 1993 or whatever year
I think it was only from like May to September.
Yeah, probably typical summer. Typical summer.
Yeah, a lot of shit happened in this one.
Yeah.
Very soap opera.
Yes.
Jacoby got his ass kicked and he's in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know who beat his ass, but somebody beat his ass while he was... Maddie and Donna and James were fucking fooling him so they could go through his office and shit.
I loved seeing James, though, like hear Laura Palmer tear him apart on tape, and he just looks fucking defeated.
Mm-hmm.
He's sweet, but he's dumb.
Yeah. She's talking hella shit. And you're just like,
I like fucking this other guy that's not him.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh.
He's really, I just feel like, he just really just a little weak man there. And then the whole...
Undercover mission.
Is
Cooper.
fucking amazing. Yeah, Cooper's
And
so good in that.
Cooper was
and
in disguise as Stephen Colbert.
Mm-hmm.
You mean Colbert was in disguise?
Have you ever
as
seen
Agent Dale Cooper?
You should watch. There's a clip on YouTube of them talking about how they look like, and they even swap out each other's glasses.
Yeah,
and
with the
shit.
glasses, he looked like Stephen Colbert.
It's fucking hilarious.
So, yeah, that whole undercover arc there, right? Because he's so fucking compelling. Cooper is so good at what he does that he's able to get jocks to just agree to this just by the little knowledge he has.
Mm-hmm. He convinces him that he's in charge of everything, basically. He's the money man.
Yeah.
And he just
works.
talks his way into it, yeah.
He just opens it right up, and then you get the Sting bust later on, which is great.
Yep. And then the classic moment where he tries to shoot Harry.
Andy's a hero.
Mm-hmm.
Andy shoots him, and then he doesn't even cry or anything.
Good thing they gave him some shooting lessons.
Mm-hmm.
No, that paid off though. Like the little shit that you don't think's going to do much in this series. That's when you get these paybacks.
And he's going to be a
later.
daddy.
Yeah, that was pretty cool too. When they go back in there and like have their thing, and that was a good little moment in there. Very soap opera-y though.
But there might be twists to that too.
Oh,
because it's a soap opera, Nick. You got to think about this in the long run.
So it's
don't just assume that it's Andy's baby now.
So it's going to be his twin brother's baby.
It's his baby.
Actually, that's not the twist. The twist is that she aborts it. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, that's fucked up. That's dark.
Isn't it? It's
not
Twin
the twist
Peaks.
you
Twin Peaks is
expected.
pretty dark. It's about the rape and murder of a high school girl. So
It is. It's true.
Audrey gets a job, at the One-Eyed Jack's as a hooker, basically. I'm not a hooker.
Was she the number 8?
Well, let's just call them what they are, sex workers, right?
Yeah.
I fucking hate the word hooker. It's fucking so
Working
degrading.
girls.
They're a sex worker. Who cares?
Yeah, no, this is not a sex worker. This is someone who's abused and forced into a fucked up position. So, in this case, it's not a sex worker. It is a victim of abuse,
Well,
I would
then let's
say.
not call it a hooker either then, because a victim, you don't call a hooker a victim. You need something more
Sex
classy
slave.
to call that.
Well, this is just what I'm referring to it as.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Because I couldn't think of the
A sex slave would be-
escort. That's what the fancy word is.
Yeah.
I'm not a
Okay.
hooker. I'm an escort.
Well, that's fine.
Well, hooker walks the
Most
streets
people.
and an escort.
That's what I'm
Hooker's
thinking.
all
Sex
behind.
work is voluntarily perfectly fine, but a lot of people who are working in this kind of sex work, especially, are victims. So it's unfortunate. Most people who worked at One-Eyed Jack's probably are victims. They're at least manipulated for sure. So, then Black Rose basically tells her that, so the owner's going to come by and fuck you.
Yeah. He's going by. He likes to see the new girls.
Yeah, which is funny because you don't know who the owner is.
Is his name Jack?
No.
Oh.
I know who it is.
He hasn't found that out yet.
I suppose he hasn't. I almost spoiled it.
Yeah, don't spoil that. He needs to be surprised.
Yeah, Andy shoots Jacques. Oh, Shelley's tied up in the mill by Leo while he's carrying around gas cans, about to burn that motherfucker down.
Yeah, he's got like a ignition bomb from the clock or something.
Yeah.
And then Leo hiding behind that door for Bobby was a good scene.
Oh, yes, and then Hank shoots the fuck out of him.
Yep.
Through the window.
And Bobby's just like...
What is he watching on the TV? Because he watches like some other guy get shot.
It was Invitation to Love, wasn't it? Invitation to Love. That's the sitcom that's always... Or the
show that's always on in the TV.
soap opera.
Soap
Yeah.
opera.
Okay.
It's the in-universe soap opera they watch.
Hank is shaking down Josie for money that she owes him for prison time.
Yep.
And he's trying to get more out of her.
How do you put a price tag on 18 months?
Exactly. That's $5,000 a month. You got to figure that's not bad if you're that whole speech.
I always forget that that's Bryan Cranston until I see it again.
Is it?
Isn't that young Bryan Cranston?
No.
He does look familiar though, but I can't.
Who is it?
I thought that was Bryan.
We're looking that up because that's not
God
him.
damn it.
That's
I think he just might remind me of someone.
played by Chris Mulkey.
Chris Mulkey.
Well,
Okay.
what would we know him as?
I hate it when I'm
He's
wrong
in
and do
48
stupid
Hours as Second Cop. He's in Dreamscape as Finch. He's in
He must just look like someone else.
Behind Enemy Lines as Jones. He looks like Huey Lewis, sort of. Like Huey Lewis fucked Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll take that. Well, I'm sorry I was wrong and ignorant, but, I'll be right all the time.
It happens. Bryan Cranston was involved in the original Power Rangers show.
He was. Which is why it's hilarious that he played Zordon in the reboot.
Oh yeah, so then he cuts her thumb and his thumb, and that whole thing happens, and it's very fucking bizarre. He then licks it up.
They're blood brothers.
And then she just wipes it on her lips like lipstick.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what the fuck is this,
Hot.
David Lynch?
Hot.
Who gives a fuck?
Bobby calls the sheriff's station pretending to be Leo.
Mm-hmm. That's a
to
great one.
snitch on James.
Yep.
Trying to get them to focus on him. Leland shows up at the sheriff's station being like,
Did you get him? You got the man that killed my daughter?
and we'll get back to him in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
He returns near the end of the episode.
He returns.
To fluff some pillows.
Catherine shows up to the mill and finds Shelley there tied up, and then it catches fire, and she's like, what the fuck? What's going on here? I know what's going on here, but I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
Ooh, let me pretend some things are happening that aren't happening, and some things that aren't happening are happening.
Let's not forget a certain somebody ODs.
Talk about it.
Well, I mean, he comes in, finds her. I forget her name, but she's the pirate wench lady. The eye patch gal. She's overdosed on the drugs.
Oh, yeah. She tries to kill herself.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's more of a...
Attempted suicide?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
less
it's
of an OD.
suicide by overdose, I guess, right? Isn't technically that accurate still?
That's going to lead to another soap opera twist.
Mm-hmm. Nick doesn't even know what he's going to do anymore.
I'm watching episode 1 of season 2 tonight.
Catherine saves Shelley.
Yes.
Leland kills Jacques.
Mm-hmm.
Suffocates that motherfucker with a pillow. And then looks crazy and insane.
Yeah. That's a wild fucking murder in
Didn't
there.
he pull a fire alarm and then it like stops like right after he kills him and he's like, oh shit.
And that fucking death by pillow just feels like straight out of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, it's fucked up. And then Cooper's shot.
He thought it was his warm milk.
Rest in peace, Cooper.
No.
Bye. It's nice knowing you. That's a good episode.
That's
there's
a lot
going
jam
on
packed
there.
in there, yeah.
Yeah, when you really break that one down, like, and then you got to wait for summer. Could you imagine watching that originally and then being like, "What the fuck?" Then having to wait. Like now, we just fucking casually just keep going.
Yeah, you just wait till the cliffhanger of the second season that people waited 26 years for.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's even worse.
Yeah, that is fucked up.
Fucked up, man.
I'm not gonna wait.
I know you're not gonna wait. You don't have to anymore.
Yeah.
You have the power
You
to
have
continue.
the technology to carry on.
But we got like 6 months for that. So.
Well, I think that's all we have tonight.
Yeah.
If you were listening to this on the audio feed, remember we now have video podcasts. You can watch us in this glorious new video store room.
And exclusive videos.
Yeah, exclusive videos.
That you can't get
Tons.
anywhere else.
There's almost 100 videos on our YouTube channel now.
Almost.
60 of them are podcasts. Close to
So that's
over...
almost 40 that you can't just listen to.
Exactly. There's lots of other movie
Use your
reviews.
eyes.
We did Spectre Vision, which is where we just talk about horror movies. We started up
need to-
Kaiju Vision recently. We're going to do
We
another
need to-
episode of that
We
soon.
need to do another Spectre.
Yeah. And another Kaiju Vision.
Mm.
Next month, we're going to have some Twister videos coming up for something
Hells
pretty
yeah.
pretty slick and cool happening there.
Hey, I gotta say, rip to Family Video, and thanks for the sign.
And the shelves.
Yeah, the shelves and the sign.
And the popcorn.
They now belong to Frog Bros Video, where you can get an RC Cola for 99 cents or $1.49 for the large.
I have $1.
Can or a bottle?
The small's a can. And
We don't do cans or bottles here. This is a...
Oh, it's a fountain.
Yeah, it's a fountain.
At a
You
video
have
store.
you have a fountain in a video store?
Yes.
Or is this a theater hybrid?
No.
If I owned a video store, there would be a fountain machine.
You like that
But
because
no
then you
one
can
else.
take them home.
No one did.
Yeah, you can.
It's kind of a novelty thing, and it's cheaper that way.
Yeah.
That's why it's 99 cents and $1.49. You want bottles and cans in this bitch, the prices are going up. So, RC Cola, sponsor us, or face the consequences.
He'll continue drinking Coke on
That's
the
a
air.
little loaded. Yeah.
Yeah, take that how you want it,
or
guys.
Mountain Dew.
But
Or Buble.
we'll be back next week. We'll have some... I'm probably going to unbox this
Trousert?
Jurassic Park toy and put that up online.
It's over here.
Do some other shit like that.
Damn it, where's Nedry?
Exactly. So, you guys got anything else? Any parting wisdom?
Parting wisdom is, wise men always say forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
Yeah, but don't harass the pizza driver. Call the store.
True.
You know what I'm saying? I used to have to deal with people who'd be like that, and I'm like, fuck off. You're giving me full price or I'm taking the pizza with me. Anyway, see you guys later.
Bye. Take care now.
Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests. The Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests. The Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests. Frog Brothers.
Shut this off. Shut these all off.